U.S. foreign policy. President Trump has confirmed there's a high likelihood of a summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin in the near future. The White House has signaled Trump's openness to discussing the ongoing war in Ukraine with both Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Let's listen in to what Trump said. My apologies, we seem to have some technical issues.
Expect that they will. And we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. And there's a very good chance that we could be ending the round, ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
Meanwhile, Secretary of State Marco Rubio cautioned that considerable work remains to address the many challenges. The potential summit marks a critical moment in diplomatic efforts to resolve the conflict. Let's listen in to what Marco Rubio said.
Hopefully, if things continue to progress, an opportunity will present itself very soon for the president to meet both with Vladimir Putin and with President Zelensky at some point here, hopefully in the near future. But obviously, a lot has to happen before that can occur.
We're now joined by Jim Rice to discuss the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war and Donald Trump's involvement a little bit further. Jim, thank you very much, as always, for joining us. Jim, Donald Trump promised this war was going to be done in 24 hours. We're now over 6 months into Donald Trump's second tenure as president. We haven't seen much progress. Hostilities still continue to escalate. We saw a smiling Steve Witkoff greet a smiling Vladimir Putin yesterday in Moscow. Obviously, a sanctions deadline looming. What are your thoughts on Donald Trump's words about him directly meeting with the Russian president in the near future, and how you think those discussions might go?
Thanks. That was exactly how I was going to open my replies to your question, which is Trump has consistently promised that he would end the Russia-Ukraine war inside of 24 hours. And obviously, he was lying, as he often does. But in any case, if your question is, how do I think the discussions, if any, between Putin and Trump will go, I really can't see that they will go very far, because Russia has, up until this point, continued to demand its maximalist requirements for any kind of ceasefire, which is essentially a capitulation by Ukraine to Russia. It essentially means that there must be regime change, there must be a pro-Russian government installed in Ukraine. Ukraine must be demilitarized, and Ukraine must give up all claims to sovereignty over its eastern territories. So given the fact that the people of Ukraine and President Zelensky are very unlikely to accede to these unreasonable demands by Putin, I can't see how this will go. Furthermore, if I can just add one more point, I find it very, very unlikely that Putin will agree to meet Zelensky in the same room. If that happens, I will be very surprised.
Jim, what are your thoughts on Donald Trump's negotiating tactics here? He seems to think that once these two big men with these important positions, once they get in a room, this is when it's going to end. What do you think about that kind of negotiation when it comes to such a significant conflict? And what are your thoughts on Donald Trump's approach to authoritarian leaders in that regard?
Yeah, I think your question is very insightful there. That's always been Trump's a flawed assumption, that if someone like himself, Donald J. Trump, can get into a room with some other world leader like Kim Jong-un or Vladimir Putin, that somehow he can manage to do a deal, as he likes to say. But in this case, and in the case of Kim Jong-un, there was never the proper preparations or groundwork that were laid for these final stage, head of state meetings. And so I find it laughable that there will be any kind of real resolution or any kind of real peace that comes out of a meeting between Trump and Putin.
Yes, Jim, thank you very much. You are staying with us to discuss further developments. Now we move on in a significant